What's good, y'all? I'm Jerry. About to check out 10 best WWE triple threat matches. This video is by Cultaholic Wrestling. One of my favorite triple threat matches would have to be The Rock, Undertaker, and Kurt Angle from 2002 Vengeance. The next one would have to be John Cena, Brock Lesnar, and Seth Rollins from, I think, the 2014 or 15 Royal Rumble pay-per-view. And like, those are my favorite two triple threat matches of all time, man. And I think the next one will have to be Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre from this year's WrestleMania. So we about to hop into this video, see the 10 best WWE triple threat matches. So let's go.
What they say, two's a crowd, but three's company.
Yep.
Actually, have I got that the wrong way around? On either way, some of the greatest wrestling matches of all time have had 3 participants. Whether they were fighting for championships,
right there,
glory,
that match right there,
or even the love of a good woman, these sets of triplets all proved that 3 is indeed the magic number. Before we start, we are not including tag team triple threats on this list. We are looking at 3 men or women duking it out. And before we start, a few honourable mentions. The Shield triple threat at 2016's Battleground, Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton versus Batista.
I forgot about that one.
WrestleMania 30, and Edge versus Daniel Bryan versus
that match was good. I forgot about that match too. That's one of my favorite triple threat matches. Favorite triple threat matches as well.
And these are the 10 greatest triple threats in WWE history. Join us.
Who's number 10?
Number 10, John Cena versus Triple H versus Shawn Michaels at Survivor Series 2009. Survivor Series 2009 was actually home to 2 very good triple threat matches. They both pitted an existing tag team against a singles world champion. The first saw the members of Jericho battle The Undertaker for the World Heavyweight Championship, and the second pitted John Cena against D-Generation X.
More of a handicap
match. Chris Jericho and the Big Show
Shawn Michaels instantly kicked Triple H
the dead man.
right after the bell rang.
In the second bout? Nah. As soon as the bell rang, DX fell apart when Shawn Michaels cracked Triple H on the jaw with a super kick. This is where that dumbfounded Cena mean face comes from, by the way. This led to a fascinating dynamic throughout the match, as Michaels and Trips were now on their own against the champion. It also meant that HBK and Triple H were allowed to fight each other, which was something fans hadn't seen in a while. Whilst this match did suffer a little bit from the old one guy gets taken out revolving door issue that WWE triple threats suffer from, the relationships between these 3 men made for a thrilling contest. Number 9, Asuka versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair at TLC 2018.
Did Asuka win that match?
For just the 4th time in WWE history, an all-female main event was booked for the final pay-per-view of 2018. SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair had been feuding since the summer, as the man was the one to dethrone the Queen for the blue belt. Adding Asuka into the mix for this title match really helped shake things up, as their singles feud was in danger of growing stale. Because this was December, WWE had no other choice but to book these women in a TLC match. Could have been avoided by, you know, not naming pay-per-views after match types, but there you go.
I hate it when they did that.
The stipulation suited the match perfectly, as all 3 talented workers smacked the ever-loving stuffing out of each other. The trio were given over 21 minutes to play with and used every single one to tear the house down with epic spots and crazy bumps. The match ended when Ronda Rousey came down to take out Lynch and Flair, handing the title to Asuka,
yeah, I remember that.
The stage for the WrestleMania 35 main event. That triple threat might have made it on here too, were it not for the horribly botched finish. Number 8, Charlotte versus Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks at WrestleMania 32. That was their first ever triple threat match at WrestleMania. In terms of historical significance, this match might just be the most important one on this list. Yeah. Charlotte, who had yet to gain her father's surname at this point, was the Divas Champion heading into WrestleMania 32. Thankfully, WWE realised that having their female competitors fight over a sparkly butterfly might be a little bit demeaning. Crazy, I know. They finally retired the Pink Menace and introduced a brand new Women's Championship for Charlotte, Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks to compete for at Mania. 3 of the 4 horsewomen gave this new title the epic first battle it deserved. They brought all of the skills and chemistry that had started the women's revolution down in NXT to give WWE main roster fans perhaps the greatest women's match of all time up to that point. In the end, Charlotte won the match to become the inaugural champion. However, the real winners here were the fans and women's wrestling as a whole, but really it was Charlotte. Number 7, The Rock versus The Undertaker versus
that's my number 1 right here. I love this match.
Not quite the Attitude Era, not quite so defined ruthless.
I wonder they're gonna have Jeff Hardy,
The first
Edge,
half
and
of
Triple H
2002 often
from
gave us a
2008.
wonderful mixture of stars competing against each other. That includes this match, featuring Big Evil Undertaker, the freshly bald Kurt Angle, and the Scorpion King himself. The three legends gave us one of the best pay-per-view main events of the entire year.
Yeah.
The Undertaker was heading into the match as undisputed champion, having won the belt off Hulk Hogan a couple of months prior.
Yep.
Clearly, he was really happy to be finally working with people who didn't qualify for a complimentary bus pass, as he went all out in this match. All three of these guys
They stole each other finishers and everything.
Angle was the technical wizard, Rock the valiant showman, and Taker the bruising heavyweight. This clash of styles made for compelling viewing, as these titans of the ring all presented a strong case for leaving with the gold, and produced a wonderful sequence where they all tried each other's finishers on each other. In the end, it was the Dwayne that got the victory, pinning Angle with a rock bottom to become a then record-setting seven-time world champ. Number 6, Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle versus The Big Show at Vengeance 2003. The year 2003 was all about the rivalry between Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle, because it definitely wasn't about the Triple H Goldberg feud on Raw.
No.
A pair of super athletic, pain-resistant
Triple H stock went all the way down.
Angle and Lesnar were a match made in terrifying, muscly heaven, and they put on many memorable matches across the year. They were both involved in the main event of Vengeance 2003, although they weren't alone. Big Show, the man who had ended Lesnar's undefeated streak the year before, had also wormed his way into the mix, setting up a triple threat for Brock's belt. Though some fans thought he might drag the other men down, Show's inclusion was actually a great addition. He gave both men something to work around, meaning that they could modify spots from their previous match instead of just trotting them out again. They also made Show look like something of a monster, which he hadn't been effectively presented as in a good long while.
No.
In the end, Angle pinned the champion to pick up the belt, setting in motion yet more wonderful singles matches between the two. Number 5, The Rock versus Triple H versus Kurt Angle at SummerSlam 2000.
I never seen this match.
The main event WWE title match at SummerSlam 2000 was all about three people: Triple H, Kurt Angle, and Stephanie McMahon. Oh yeah, and actual world champion The Rock, I suppose. This was the apex of one of the most soap opera storylines WWE has ever done, the McMahon-Helmsley-Angle love triangle. As Kurt and Steph grew closer as just friends, the game grew increasingly more jealous. This all peaked when the gold medalist planted a smooch on the billion-dollar princess on the SmackDown before the big night. Bloody hell, it's like EastEnders, only somehow less violent? All this context made the SummerSlam triple threat more compelling than any technical masterpiece. It didn't even matter that Angle got his bell rung minutes into the match after a botched pedigree and had to take some time out backstage. In fact, if anything, it just made it more intriguing. Sports entertainment at its finest, this match would unfortunately turn out to be the high point of the story, as Hunter soon pulled the plug on it backstage. Something about it not being believable that Steph would leave him, a real man, for that dorky Kurt. Sure thing, Drips. Keep telling yourself that. Number 4, Seth Rollins versus The Miz versus Finn Balor at WrestleMania 34.
When the hell was this?
WrestleMania openers, you could do much, much worse than this triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship from Mania 34. Looking at you, Tag Team 4-Way from Mania 13. The Miz had got himself in the crosshairs of both Seth Rollins and Finn Balor in the lead-up to the biggest show of the year. Both former NXT champions were gunning for his IC belt, which led to this three-way scuffle. And look, we all know that Miz is the greatest technician in the world, and his standard moveset is about as exciting as watching a worm run the 200 meters, but when he's paired up with other more invigorating opponents, he is the perfect foil. Rollins and Balor handled all the thrilling moves, whilst Miz served as the cowardly heel who would use underhanded tactics to try to steal a win. This gave the match a really entertaining structure to work around, and all three participants worked with each other brilliantly. Seth got the win in what was one of the best matches on the entire Mania card. I mean, it was certainly better than that pitiful Brock Roman main event, and I tell them that to their faces too, and then run away really quickly. Number 3, Brock Lesnar versus John Cena
That's my second favorite one.
At Royal Rumble 2015.
So that was 2015 when it happened.
Here he is again, this time defending his WWE Championship against two very different opponents at Royal Rumble.
That match opened the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. It was the first match of the night.
In SummerSlam, where he conducted an experiment on John Cena to see how many times a man could be dropped on his neck and still become a famous movie star. Cena had come close to regaining the title at Night of Champions when Seth Rollins attempted to cash in Money in the Bank and ruined everything. A few months later, this highly charged triple threat was made. The early stages of this match were based around just one thing: trying to kill Brock Lesnar. A sound strategy, I'm sure you'll agree. Cena and Rollins went hell for leather to keep Lesnar down, succeeding when the Architect hit an elbow drop on him through the announce table. Cue Rollins and Cena having some one-on-one time, which is never a bad thing, before Lesnar rose from the dead to pin Seth and retain. A match of two halves, as they say in football, each as gripping as each other. Is that what they say in football? Don't really watch it. Is Beckham still playing? Number 2, Chris Benoit versus Triple H.
That match was good too. That was the first ever match at WrestleMania
versus Randy Orton versus Batista.
That ended in submission.
Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan versus Edge. The last 5 minutes of WrestleMania 31. These are all WrestleMania triple threat main events, and they all absolutely ruled. However, the best of the bunch must be from the night where it all began again. Still have no idea what that tagline means, by the way. The big World Heavyweight Championship bout at WrestleMania 20 looked like it was going to be between champion Triple H and scorned former friend Shawn Michaels. That was until Chris Benoit won the Royal Rumble and inserted himself into the picture. The end result was a phenomenal triple threat match featuring 2 super workers and Triple H, who was also there. I'm kidding, obviously, and to give the game his dues, he was the perfect fulcrum for the 2 mega athletes to pivot around. After nearly 25 minutes of intense action and about 10 pints of blood loss, the rabid Wolverine made Trips tap out to complete his underdog rise to the top. In fact, this match was so good that they ran it back again at Backlash the following month. Number 1, Gunther versus Sheamus.
That's my third one. My third on the list.
39, Night 2. In 2023,
so all 3 of my picks was on here.
History, Dave Meltzer awarded.
But I'm surprised they didn't put Jeff Hardy, Edge, and Triple H on this one.
First was AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels versus Samoa Joe from TNA Unbreakable 2.
That was a good triple threat match as well.
Masterclass of ring psychology, high flying, and storytelling. The second, well, that was just 3 meaty blokes smacking the pork out of each other. Okay, that's not fair. Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre's Intercontinental Masterclass from WrestleMania 39 was way more than that. Not only did it have the story of the Irishman's long-running quest to beat Gunther and finally claim the IC title, but it also showcased his crumbling friendship with Drew. The Celtic Warrior's face when McIntyre broke up a pinfall, denying him his ambition of becoming Intercontinental Champion, is the stuff dreams are made of. Chuck in some top quality spots and some very, very sore chests, and you have got yourself a recipe for one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time. Hey, it's certainly the best Mania triple threat that I can think of. Sorry, Kane versus Big Show versus Raven from Mania X7. Just what?
Alright, y'all, great video, man. Let me know down below in the comments on what y'all thought of my reaction to the video. Like, comment, subscribe. But till next time, I'm out. Peace.